If I take you right now and you have a 300 testosterone level, and I got a clone of you sitting in this seat, or your twin, and they're at 1,000 testosterone levels, same person, just you cannot compete with this person on any level in anything. They'll beat you in everything. I was getting it late in my 20s and falling asleep at the desk, getting tired, putting on weight, body composition. I saw an ad for testosterone therapy. I went to go try it and it changed my life. When the time came in my career where I was turning into a corporate refugee, hating what I was doing, I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let me try this.
So you started with 25,000 each.
Yeah,
right.
And all we had was our energy and knowing that, one, we didn't want to embarrass ourselves. We both had kids, sons that were watching us do this on the ground. Can't let them down. We got to eat. We got to pay our rent. And so we knew there's only one way to go, and that's up.
So after all of that, which is definitely sounds pretty grueling, like you mentioned, was it worth it?
We'll see.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the On Pursuit podcast. I interview 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs. And what we like to do is learn a little bit more about them, how they make an impact, how they grew their business, and what they're doing right now in their business since they become successful. On today's episode, I got Carlton Washington. We were introduced through a mutual friend. And what I learned about you is you have this amazing company, right, Forever Young, right, providing anti-aging solutions. Yep. Which is pretty interesting, right? Because that's the thing. Everybody wants to be young. They want to stay young forever. And it's the fastest growing centers like in the whole US, right? And then a little bit about yourself. You've been building brands and going hard at guerrilla marketing, which is pretty interesting because now I feel like guerrilla marketing has taken a step back from the internet, but it's still impactful. Because now you can have like billboards are still crazy, week pacing is still crazy, and I'm pretty sure you can tell us a little bit more about that journey. But getting in the physical world, when you actually go out there and you see some of these guerrilla marketing tactics, at least for me, it kind of brings me back to when I was growing up. And It's like you have whole street takeovers, you know what I'm saying? So welcome to the podcast.
Saying? Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? Excited to learn more about what you have going on and share more about these anti-aging solutions.
Thanks for the opportunity, man.
So man, listen, I haven't been to Forever Young yet, but people tell me that I look like I'm Forever Young. No one knows how old I am. 43.
Okay, that'd be the same age.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. And do you get that pretty often? People have no idea how old you are?
It depends. Depends on if I'm shaved, what the look is, if I'm in better shape than I am now or less, So But I mean, compared to my peers, especially when you're around a room surrounded by your peers, it definitely stands out. Because the older we get, the less and less, our friends and peers are taking care of themselves.
That's a fact.
Taking care of yourself, that's marketing in itself. So, for me, everything's marketing and sales. And so one of the first things you can control is your appearance and how people perceive you in person.
Yeah, no, facts. So how did you get into this unique space where I feel like it's a blue ocean, but it could also be a red ocean? Because there's a lot of different product services that are targeted to people wanting to stay young and invest in like their appearances and their health overall, aesthetically for sure. Right. And we're in Florida, right? Arguably one of the top places where people go to.
Number one.
There you go, right? And then what's LA number 2?
I believe it's between those two, and then now Texas is huge.
Texas
as well.
is going crazy too? Yeah. Is it because people moving to Texas or Texas actually?
Not only that, it's just, Texas just has a huge population, especially in the Dallas area, of people who are very in front of looking good and feeling good. Even in the bodybuilding scene, you have a high concentration of people always coming out of Texas, always coming out of Southern California, New York, and always Southern Florida as well.
So what are some of the top services that you provide that people are coming to Forever Young for?
Yeah, so we have two sides of the business. We have a look your best side and a feel your best side. That's how the business is split.
Okay.
And so it's two businesses in one. So, a lot of people, are familiar with med spas, but we don't refer to ourselves as a med spa. We refer to ourselves as a vitality center.
Okay.
So cool thing about us and thing that separates us is that we treat men and women. And when you come in, you'll feel comfortable as a man, comfortable as a woman. And we get patients for different reasons. So, and that's the cool thing because some people don't understand that looking your best also has something to do with feeling your best.
Yeah.
And feeling your best also has something to do with looking your best. So when these things are linked together and well balanced, that's the recipe right there. And so on the look your best side, we do a lot of facial aesthetics, injectables, fillers, Botox. We got skincare. We got
injectables, fillers, Botox, skincare.
Yeah, anything that's non-invasive that can improve your appearance and your skin. We pretty much do that under one roof. So just not surgical, but anything that we can control without surgery, we're typically doing those type of services. And then on the feel your best side, that's typically started with comprehensive blood work. So guys are coming in, women are coming in, they want to know what's good, what's bad, how can we fix it? And they don't want to just be normal, they want to be optimal.
Yeah.
And so what you're
that's
seeing,
how I'm feeling.
yeah, you want to be optimal, right?
Yeah.
And I always give people the example, like, look, you got your regular 70-year-old out there, right? Your parents or whatever, sitting on the couch, watching the news, got the TV tray, or you got the forever young 70-year-old coming in like, hey, where's my hormone replacement and where's my Viagra? I got a date this weekend.
I mean? I got to get to it.
Same age guy, same age female, lifestyle completely different. And we're a lifestyle service, we're a lifestyle brand. We have services for people who want to live their best life until the end. Okay. And they want to extend that life as well. And so we use science to do that. Everything that we do works. And especially on the wellness side with the hormone replacement really kind of pauses you and allows you to keep your body optimal, your weight, your body composition, your libido, your energy, your drive, everything kind of ties into that. Also, I mean, on that side, we're doing nutrition, we're doing supplementation, all based on the blood work and IV therapy, which is huge. You asked me how I got into this business. I got into this business a couple different ways. In my business, we also are now a franchise. So we sell franchises and licenses and territories to people all over the country. And we refer to a lot of people that come over as corporate refugees, meaning like they're ready to get out of corporate America. They want to get out. It's just like a regular refugee, like by any cost, they want to get out. And that's really how I came into this business. And one of the things that I was doing at the time was I was getting older, trying to keep up, partying, hanging out, and I wasn't recovering the same. So in comes IV therapy.
So you was going crazy.
Yeah.
You wanted to bounce back.
Yeah. How am I going to do it? So I found out about IV therapy. I was like, oh my God, this is a miracle. So now I'm not like everybody else. I can wake up, I can recover, I can rehydrate, I can keep going.
So before you continue, break down the IV therapy really quick, because a lot of people may not understand what that really is, right?
Yeah, so
how that works.
IV therapy is similar to you go to the hospital, you see those IV bags hanging there. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the base of that is saline solution, which is going directly in your body to hydrate you on a cellular level. But what we do is we add other compounds, vitamins, other things that actually support your nutrition and basically are absorbed 100% versus the smaller percent after it's going through your digestive system. So this is directly into the bloodstream. And there's so many different protocols, but bottom line is it helps filter out your liver, your kidneys, help rehydrate you, help get you the nutrients that you need rapidly so you can recover rapidly. And
how fast? I mean, not fast. How often should someone be utilizing IV therapy?
We have all types of different patients that utilize them in different ways. Everybody from marathoners to celebrities to people, rock stars. It depends. I mean, if you're out there on tour, going to city, partying, you're probably doing it weekly. You might be doing it twice a week. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying, or you might have somebody, who's a fighter or whatnot. They're doing them, before, after fights, making weight. Or you just have the normal everyday person that's sick and they need to be hydrated. They need to get the nutrients in their body and the rest to recover. That person might just do it when they're sick. So it's a cheat code. It's a biohack for a lot of different things. But the truth of the matter is it works. It's proven. And it's the best way to get these things in your body, especially because it beats out taking them orally. But the other way I got into the business was really with the hormone replacement. I was getting it late in my 20s and, falling asleep at the desk, getting tired, putting on weight, body composition, everything's changing. And I'm looking at everybody around me changing. And, I saw an ad for testosterone therapy and it was describing my symptoms. I went to go try it and it changed my life. It gave me everything back that I was losing. And I saw that it was making me much more competitive than everybody else around me. And so when the time came in my career where I was turning into a corporate refugee, hating what I was doing, operating under really bad leadership, working in an industry that I feel like was hurting people and not helping people, I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let me try this. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I know that I could put it together and give it a shot because anything's better than what I'm doing now. It wasn't about the money. It was about doing something that was purposeful and waking up every day feeling good and not depressed that you're going in, into the rat race.
So what was that? What's the actual therapy, that homotherapy?
My initial hormone replacement therapy was testosterone.
Okay. What was the procedure?
So with testosterone therapy, you're going in, you're getting blood work done to see if you qualify. If you're below a certain number range on that blood work, then you would typically qualify. And so, for example, let's just say out of 1,000, let's say the number is 1,000. I test your blood and you come in and you're at a 300. You can really tie that 300 number to being a low number, and that low is going to be low libido, low energy, low
XYZ,
everything, right? Yeah. And so imagine if I take you to 1,000, right? 1,000 testosterone level,
you can be
triple what you are. And so what happens is, and I tell people all the time, is if I take you right now and you have a 300 testosterone level, and I got a clone of you sitting in this seat, or your twin, and they're at 1,000 testosterone levels, same person, just you cannot compete with this person on any level in anything.
Gotcha.
Nothing, not one thing can you compete with them. They'll beat you in everything. They'll beat you in relationships. They'll beat you in business. They'll beat you in sex. They'll beat you in having a good time. They'll beat you in life. And it's a fact. And so knowing that, once you get educated, how are you going to proceed being a third of yourself, a quarter of yourself? I mean, I give you an average number. I mean, we got guys coming in at 100,
Ooh,
100.
That's low.
And so you're working at the same job as me. I'm on 1,000. You're on 100.
Can't even compete.
And
then, so if someone's getting that type of therapy, how often, what's that process?
So for me, I do shots.
Okay.
I do once a week shot.
Okay.
And I've been doing this now for 15 years.
15 years?
Yes. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Got you.
And it shows up in every area of my life.
Got you. So that's something that people should definitely, they need to go test their blood, see what's going on. So a friend of mine just texted me back, right? So she has, you might have to read this for me. I can't read this word, bro. Hypothyroidism. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is something that will show up on our blood test that we do.
Yeah.
But I also got to tell people, I'm not a doctor. I'm on the business side. So we don't diagnose people. What we typically do when someone has that issue is, a lot of times people are finding out they have these issues when they come to our office to do our blood work, because they're not doing all this blood work. We will typically refer them out to a specialist and work with that specialist on approved therapies for them to get them back to feeling good.
Gotcha. So but this is something that you've seen before.
Absolutely. Okay. We see everything because
you can treat that.
Our doctors and medical staff can partner with the right practitioner for that. That's a specialty.
Yeah, specialty.
And so we only treat within our realm, and then we will work with the physician to make sure that the client and the patient is getting a comprehensive approach.
Yeah,
right. We don't do anything. We don't want to harm anybody, and we do what we do really well, and we don't want to interfere with someone's health in areas that we're not experts in.
100%. So for men, is testosterone the most
Testosterone
common?
Is the most common.
Okay.
We have other growth hormone peptides and things of that nature.
I've heard a lot about peptides.
It's huge, man.
How do you break that down?
Peptides are typically different combinations of amino acids that trigger certain activities in the body that can be beneficial to your health. So there's some that help with growth hormone production. There's some that help with weight loss. There's some that help with sleep. There's some that help with healing. There's some that help with sexual dysfunction. And so they're identifying these chains, and then they're isolating them, and that's the peptide that you're taking based on the proper dosage. Again, these are things that are helping people tremendously. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, in our parents' time where these things aren't available. These things are available to the masses, and people who know about them are using them to their advantage. So when you see some guy that's 60 years old and he's out there living his best life, a lot of the time, they're participating in some kind of wellness treatments that are allowing them to have a much better life than their peers.
Yeah, no doubt. That sounds great. So it's really like you really are extending your youth and your energy and being able to do things that, as
And it's extending life.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Because our patients do blood work 3 to 4 times a year. Go and ask any community anywhere in America, how many times are you doing blood work?
It's probably 0.
Maybe in the last few years, maybe if they went to the hospital, maybe. And we're going above and beyond what your standard doctor's testing. So if you have something wrong, if there's something wrong in your blood work, it's popping up one of the 4 times in the year, which could save your life. And if you're optimizing all the other functions with lifestyle enhancements and nutrition and exercise, you're going to live longer.
Yeah.
Unless there's an act of God that happens, you get a car accident, you're going to live longer.
What's that mean? We talking about 105? What are we talking about?
We can't put any claims, but it would make sense that if you do not get hit by a car or something of that nature, and your heart health is being taken care of, your liver, kidney functions being taken care of, your exercise, you're doing all these things that are proven to be good for you, you know that you're going to probably live much longer than everyone else, and not just live, actually be living and have a good life, right? Other than, we all have the person in the family, everybody's got the type 2 diabetics and all that stuff out there. They can't do nothing, canes, scooters, and Walmart. That's not living, you know?
It's not. It's
and
existing.
so we're anti that.
Yeah, I got you. So we know what men are going in for. What are women going in for?
So good question.
Like 1 and 2.
Well, so we treat men and women. What's interesting is initially the majority of women are coming in for aesthetic services because, women, aesthetics, beauty, skincare.
Yeah.
But what we found is that more and more, it is not just the aesthetics, it's aesthetics and wellness. And the same things that we're offering men are the same things that we're offering women, because men and women need hormone optimization in today's society. Men and women need nutrition. They need to be going to do blood work, all these things. And so you take a woman who is pre-menopausal, post-menopausal, in the middle of menopause, and you fix that, you're giving them life back.
So you're saying a woman that's pre or post-menopausal,
it's all hormonal.
All hormonal. So she can actually be able to not experience that, or it could be pushed out a little further.
It can be minimized. The symptoms can be corrected. The symptoms can be taken away.
That's crazy.
And now you're skipping that. You're prolonging quality of life. Everybody's happy because if they're in a relationship, the kids are happy, the husband's happy, the boyfriend, whoever. And even pre that, if you think about it, think about birth control. Birth control is like a negative hormone that they're giving young women to not have babies, but no one's asking themselves, like, what is this doing to my body?
100%.
So that's why you meet all these girls that are on birth control. They're like, I can't get my weight under control. I keep on putting on all this weight. I have no sex drive. It's affecting everything. And they don't realize, like, hormones are controlling what we do, everything.
Yeah.
So when you get rid of that negative hormone and replace it with a positive one, now all the days are sunny. Now you have a woman who has a libido, has drive, has energy, not to mention her body composition is shifting in a positive way, because testosterone allows us to maintain muscle mass on the body.
Yeah.
Not like a bodybuilder, I'm saying, but just the muscle mass you need to keep your body composition together, looking attractive 100%. The way you want it, right? Yeah. And so everything you see in the aging process, the softness, the slowness, all the negative aspects of that are typically due to the morbid situation of you're dying and your hormones are depleting. So if you stop that, then you're doing the opposite. You're pausing it.
So you found like the fountain of youth.
We didn't find it, but we definitely packaged it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about you when you were, kind of like shifting.
Absolutely.
And you were like, I don't know, this is something.
Right.
I know I could do something with it. So, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, this sounds like something that could literally help everyone.
Yes. Unless there's some kind of medical contraindication for our services. It's something that I believe that everybody should be seeking, because the alternative is what we see every day. And the alternative is that lifestyle of, you're sitting on the couch, you're overweight, you're in the scooter, you know what I mean?
I'm trying to be in a scooter, bro.
They say most people will never run again after the age of 29 or 30.
Yeah.
They say you'll never run again.
Or push-ups and pull-ups.
All that.
Yeah.
So like, there's a whole nother side of that. You got that guy that's stuck at home, that woman that's stuck at home. Or I don't know if you experienced this. It's like, hey, let's go out. I'm 43 years old. Let's go out. How many people you have that can go out with you right now at 43? Like, I know that number drops off.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? As we get older.
I go home just to, every now and again. I'm not married. I don't have any kids, right? And I'm from Boston. So I'll go back home every now and again, connect with the guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And my lifestyle is completely different to a lot of them. Married, kids, chilling. They got their routine.
Right.
A lot of them, they're gaining a little bit of weight, not as active.
Right.
One of my friends, he gained a little bit more weight. And he's, like you said, couch surfing, chilling, his quality of life, I wouldn't say it's bad, because I guess he enjoys it, but it's not as optimal as it could be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and we're all around the same age, but I completely understand what you mean, man. It's like, just because you get older, you don't have to operate as an older person.
No.
You can have that.
It feels like giving up, man.
Yeah,
and for some of us, we want to hold on to what we got as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy being alive, and I want to live my life.
Yeah.
And I just don't see how people can just wake up and submit to what they're submitting to these days without a fight. And what we provide for people is the fight to get as much of your life as possible.
What's on the other side of it, right? So we talked about all the ways that it can help people, men and women.
Right.
And it sounds great, but I know there's probably people watching, listening, and it's like, okay, cool, this sounds cool, but I'm a skeptic. What's on the other side of it?
So
what are things we need to watch out for?
That's a great question. And so honestly, my partner and I really have a lot of pride in the fact that we don't sell snake oil.
Yeah.
We've never been salesmen. We only educate. And so I really don't like to convince people per se. I like them to do their research. And I like for people to say, hey, look, what's on the other side of this, first and foremost, is this is something that I give my wife. This is something that I give my parents. This is something that I've been on for 14 years. We use every single product and service that's in our office. Everyone. My kids use the ones that they're allowed to use as well. So this is something that we
So
put
you all in.
Put our faith in. Our families are involved. Our parents are involved. Our communities are involved, and our faces are riding on this all the time. And so I feel very confident telling people that on the other side of this is greatness. On the other side of this is an optimal life. On the other side of this is improved health. There's almost no negative side effects to what we do. And our medical team does a really good job of screening people for any issues prior and throughout therapy. And so if you're having all of these negative things happen in your life, and even on the aesthetic side, you're watching your face sag, you're watching your collagen disappear, you're watching your forehead get wrinkled, you're watching all these things happen to you. If you're fine with that, if you're fine with, low energy and fine with sitting on the couch, then we're doing well, right? So it's like, I don't need to convince that person. Yeah. This is for the person that's like, I want to do more. Yes.
This is for me.
I want to do more. I don't want to give up. Yeah. I know I can do more. I don't have to fade away like my peers, and I'm not going to, and I'm making a decision to do that. And so I always tell people, do your due diligence, do your research. But at the end of the day, if you're skeptical, just ask yourself what's going to happen if you don't give it a try. And at the least you can do is go do your blood work. Yeah, and the least you can do is go get a consult for improving your face, your skin, and all these things that at the end of the day, if someone's watching your podcast or watching, anybody out here in the space, it's typically to get information and do better. 100%. You want to make more money. Yeah. You want to be more successful. How about you look like someone that's successful, right? That you have the discipline to take care of yourself, the discipline to control your weight, the ability to have the proper hygiene and have clean and clear skin and all these things. Like, look like you care and people will treat you like you care. But if you look like a slob and you just leave everything to chance and to weather, then that's how people are gonna treat you. And that's half the battle, 9 times out of 10, of getting an initial opportunity that you want. So I don't want any opportunities to pass me by, and I choose to stay on this side of the fence, which is optimal.
So I got a question about like athletes real quick. So are athletes, professional athletes that are contracted, NBA, football, baseball, hockey, is this type of vitality solution, is this okay for them to utilize? Is this
every league has different rules?
Yeah.
And with us, we tell anytime we've been approached by athletes, look, we don't know, and we're not going to investigate for you because we're going to just treat you as a patient. So whatever you do, make sure that you know what the rules are.
And within the rules.
You know,
Yeah.
I know, like for instance, UFC banned IVs, which is hydration, just vitamins, hydration for no reason. You still have guys asking for it. You know, you still got a lot of guys doing different things. If it's medically necessary, or if it's a legitimate need that someone has, whether they're athlete or not, we're not regulated by those bodies.
Okay.
It is up to the athlete, but we do not promote professional athletes to do anything that's not in their bounds to do. So, but it's not, we really focus on the everyday person, you know, and we kind of leave the athletes to, figure those things out for themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially because you don't want some guy who's got some big ass contract come in and be like, you told me that I could do this. Now I just, because there was one time a guy had gone and taken something in the UFC wasn't supposed to take, but he had just left doing a promo at Forever Young. And they contacted us, and we're like, we don't even know what the substance is that you guys are talking about. But his image was there. And we're like, you know what? It's just too much.
Cool. That makes sense, man.
What's up, y'all? I'm standing in the middle of the street and I'm willing to risk it all because I want you to grow, whether through paid or organic measures. Over the next 5 days, the Audience Growth Challenge, we're going to be teaching you podcast guesting strategies, video marketing strategies, social media, predictable viral creation strategies, the power of radio and digital PR. And these strategies are what you need to grow your business over the next 4, 6, 9, even 12 months to skyrocket your success. So if you want to join the challenge, all you got to do is click the link below and join the Audience Growth Challenge and join it as a VIP. Let's get it.
So we talked about the product a lot, right? You wanted some details on what women are doing, what men are into, broke down the importance of the blood work and stuff like that, and just taking care of yourself and putting yourself in a position to give yourself some options so you can actually have a long, high level of life.
Right.
I want to get into the marketing now. You know what I'm saying? The brand building, how you guys have been able to build the company, your guerrilla marketing, what the vision was for Forever Young and stuff like that. How has guerrilla marketing changed in your mind? And then also, how have you been able to build a business with your skill set in applying some of the marketing strategies that you know so well?
Yeah, so that's the funny thing. Personally, what I tell incoming interested people in my business in terms of franchisees or anybody asks me that question is, I tell them first and foremost, with my company, what we do is we do both forms of marketing. So all the things that you just mentioned just now, I place that in new school marketing. That's new school. But what's so funny now is that everybody acts as if the old school marketing, like that doesn't work anymore.
Facts, 100%.
And it's so interesting to me because it's the cheat code. Because in that space, I tell people that's the old school marketing. And what old school marketing is, it's the business techniques that people were using when the Bible was written. You know what I mean? People had businesses for 2,000 years now, right? So how did the guy in Jerusalem or whatever, in the Bible, get you to come and buy, I don't know, lambs from him or something, right? He probably had a sign. He probably made sure that he did things a certain way. He probably went out and maybe, who knows, gave people some samples or whatever it was, right? And so why would you negate that when it works? And so what I find is that these days, people, first of all, are lazy, right? You hear that across the board. So anybody can do new school marketing. I can do new school marketing and I do it. I pay someone to do that stuff. I'm not a tech guy. I didn't go to school. I'm not trained in IT. I don't know how to code. None of that stuff. It's not a good use of my time either to sit there and be just scanning metrics on digital marketing that I could pay someone to do that.
That knows how to do that well.
Yeah, and then use my time to do other things that I can control. And what people don't realize, and I don't have any problem telling you guys this because you're not going to do it, is that the guerrilla marketing is where everybody is still at.
Yeah.
The guerrilla marketing is personal marketing to people and communities.
Okay.
It's aggressive and it's basically shoving your message down people's throat and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You're either going to buy or you're not going to buy.
So give us some examples.
So, this is really kind of things that I developed when I started doing all this stuff at Howard University.
Okay.
And I stumbled upon it. So I started doing parties and I started attracting attention just throwing parties in my dorm. And then a larger promoter was like, well, I think I ruined one of his parties one night.
Because everybody can hear joint, not
Yeah.
joint.
And he was like, who's this Carlton guy? And they were like, there's some guy looking for you, asking all these people. And so I was like, okay, met the guy. He's like, I want you to come work with me now. And so it just started with hand-to-hand
Combat,
passing out flyers, doing this, doing that. And I really liked that kind of work because I could control moving large amounts of people to go to these places and I was getting paid and I was having fun at the same time. And so then I took it to a more extreme level and then I got introduced to the music side of it. And so at that time, if you're in Boston, if you're in the Northeast, you would go down the street and you see light poles and everything.
Yeah, the raps.
All the way to the top, Diddy's next album, Biggie, whatever. So I was the kid out there. Yeah.
The wheat paste joints.
All that.
Yeah.
So I was out there. I was the kid, 2 a.m. in the morning.
You was doing that?
Staple, hide from the cops, doing that.
Yeah.
And then I would always take it even farther. So I would go and spray paint stencils all over the city.
Those are dope, though. Because you be walking around, you was like, oh, Nas' album. You know what I'm saying?
But I was like, screw Nas's album. Carlton's party.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I was just learning all these different techniques and they worked. And what I realized is that at nighttime, you're out there 1 a.m. in the morning, no one else is out there, right? And so when someone else would have an event, we'd be out there not leaving it to chance. We're controlling the outcome of the marketing because we're not leaving anything to chance. And so we're going to cover flyers. We're going to cover now it'd be text. We're going to put stuff in the trees. We're going to put stuff on the ground. We're going to maybe do a little bit of vandalism back then. I was in my 20s. I didn't care. Whatever it took.
You can still get away with that stuff now?
I can't with my brand. And I can't encourage it, but you could. Yeah. You could, especially when you're young and you have nothing to lose. That's the thing. And that should be your attitude when you're marketing up into the point where you have something to lose. Yeah. If you don't have anything to lose, market your ass off, deal with the consequences later. If you have something to lose, that means it's working and let's back off the things that are, on the edge or whatever. And that's what we did. And so when I was in school, that was the approach. And then I noticed that when I had parties and groups of people, then you're able to leverage that into whatever you want because the group of people is there.
You got the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. And so my parents, they wanted me to get out of that. They were like, this is not what you came to school for. You got to get out. And so I kind of reluctantly just gave all that stuff up. But then when I went into corporate America and I was challenged to meet my goals, I was like, well, how am I going to meet my goals? So I would just start doing the same type of events, but at my bank. I was in banking, I would they look different, but I was hyper social. I was able to attack, Chamber of Commerce's, different groups, gather people around. It was all the same concept. And I was like, wow, so now I'm hitting my goals. I'm bringing all the business to me.
And it's different now because I assume that a lot of people that might have been coworkers or even competitors in the space, they wasn't doing anything like that.
They weren't.
In that type of category, in that type of space. I'm assuming.
No, not at all, because most people, I guess, didn't have that skill set per se. Most people are afraid to put themselves out there. Most people are so concerned, well, what if it doesn't work, which is a big concern, but that's why you put the work in so that it always works. And a lot of people, it's just unorthodox. And so, but also at the end of the day, what it really boils down to with this type of marketing is guerrilla marketing takes you getting up and actually doing something, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's, even in our business now, there might be a week where I'm going to 5 nights in a row of events. I don't feel like doing it, but we do it. Why? Because you won't do it. You won't do it.
I like it.
even though I'm telling you guys this right now, what to do and that it works, it takes work and you won't do it. And so I know that this space is wide open for me.
Yeah.
And anybody who does want to enter that space, I have the utmost respect for them and we can have friendly competition, but they just won't do it.
Yeah,
You know, so basically what you said in the intro is all these new techniques, they're out there. Some of them work, some of them don't. Some of you have to have really big budgets.
Yeah.
But you get to control guerrilla marketing because guerrilla marketing is fueled and generated by your energy and your resources. And so guerrilla marketing is anything creative you can do in an aggressive manner to drive business and to drive awareness and attention to your product, your service, your brand.
Yeah, that's basically even how we do podcast guesting, right? Because a lot of these agencies that may help people get on shows, they're gonna help you get on the show.
Right.
But they're not gonna do the back end part.
Right.
The most I'm seeing that they're going is as far as couple clips. So you go on the show, you got some clips. That's it, right? But it's like, that's the front part. That's the 20% that everybody can do.
Right.
But when you're on the show, there's opportunity there for you to navigate and control and make sure you're getting some assets and some content that's for you, that you know you can manipulate later. Then it's like, what am I doing after? That's the 80%. Right? Then it's the relationship that you build with the host.
Right.
How can we do a JV? How can we collab?
Right.
How do you now build an email list of other influential people that have audiences that you can also control or you can work with, right? To make things happen. So that's extremely interesting, man. So,
and one key point that I would say to what you're saying right now, especially in this internet space, and we talked about this before the show, you know, before you go on these shows, before you try to build yourself a brand, before you try to market yourself, you need to be legitimate. You need to be authentic. You need to be the best at what you're doing. Otherwise, you shouldn't be on the internet. You shouldn't be selling any courses. You shouldn't be getting on podcasts, talking about some shit that you heard from someone else. If you're not capable of doing these things, you shouldn't be in the space. And I'm running into that a lot. And so before, you have all these grandiose plans for how to market yourself. What I'm finding is that you got to also, people are forgetting, you need a substance. And it can't just be education or theory based. What have you actually done? What have you actually accomplished? Show it to me. And that to me is the biggest separator too, when you're going out there, because what I find a lot of the time is I'm meeting with people or I'm encountering people, and behind the scenes after the show's over, they're like all blown away, but they're like, because they're not actually, they're just operating in this space that looks pretty on screen, but it's sometimes it's not built off of any substance.
It's like a facade.
It's a facade.
It's a facade.
It's a facade.
Yeah, it's a mirage.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that even better.
You open the door, you walk in, it's like, where am I? Yeah. Crazy, man. It's like a Hollywood set.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I just gotta ask you directly, man, how have you been able to build this company using your strategies? How have y'all become one of the number one solutions or the number one solution?
Because
how have you done that?
Because I think, we're relentless. We were relentless, willing to apply these techniques while also obsessing over everything else. You know what I mean? So, I have a partner, and, for me, my job really was just to get him in, right? Get him in. However you can do it, get him in. And then when they get in.
You handling the business side.
Yeah, let's get him in. And when his eye was more for like let's make it look nice. Let's make it, feel nice and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And cause I don't think I just want to corral as much as possible, and then we'll sort it out later. Yeah. And so, the thing about it is also, starting this business, we were starting as patients as well. We're not medical professionals, but this is a medical business. This is a health medical industry. And so we came in to disrupt that because 1, we were hungry. 2, we didn't have any money. So we started our business. We both put in like $25,000.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
$25,000 to start this business.
So when you started this business, because you mentioned earlier it's a franchise, right? Just franchise opportunities.
Right.
So when you started this business, were y'all literally the first Forever Young? Or did you buy into it?
No, we're the first Forever
Young. So you're the first one.
Yeah.
So you created the franchise model.
Yeah.
So you started with $25,000 each.
Yeah. Right. And all we had was our energy and knowing that, 1, we didn't want to embarrass ourselves. We both had kids, sons, and that were watching us do this on the ground at the time. Can't let them down. We got to eat, we got to pay our rent. And so we knew we couldn't let this fail. We love what we were doing. We were patient. And so we looked at everything that we were doing from the patient point of view. And we're like, well, I would like this. I don't like that. And that's how we treated people. We treated every single person the way we want to be treated without fail. Every single one of them to date, the way we want to be treated in an environment that we thought was cool, that was the music that we like and think is cool, that smells the way we like, that has the lighting that we like. And then behind it, you have two people who are like, this can't fail, and we'll do almost anything within ethical and legal bounds to get it done.
I like that.
And so our approach to the doctor's office or the little foo-foo med spa, pink with the champagne flukes and all that type of stuff was get out of our way. You know, we had competitors. We had digital truck. We parked the truck in front of your business with the sign on.
Yeah, you was going crazy.
Lower
That's
prices.
aggressive.
Yeah.
That's
and if you don't like it, come say something about it. Come. No one ever did. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think people in a professional industry are used to people coming in and pushing people's buttons like that.
That's almost like old school when brands used to compete.
Yeah.
Like IBM will call out Apple, Pepsi will call out Coke, you know what I'm saying? Things like that.
And it was frustrating too, because a lot of these guys had mommy, daddy money. Our competitors were fueled by mommy, daddy money. And to this day, we always say we don't have rich parents. We can't say we don't have investors anymore because we do have investors now, 9 years in, but no rich parents. And so, you know, those guys were like, I don't know what to do, you know? And we're like, you know, we're taking high interest loans, running up credit cards to keep our business afloat. And these guys, they can go to sleep at night. And so when you're fueling a business or your idea like that, there's only one way to go typically, man. And that's up because you're coming from the bottom already. There's only one way to go, you know? And so I think that with the plan, with the experience of aggressive guerrilla marketing techniques, being creative, and then right at the time that digital marketing was really kind of taking off in the social media space, we were so open to anything that would work. We just hopped right on. So people didn't even believe in Facebook marketing when they started offering. We were just like, we're going to try it.
Fact.
Everything. We had just had everything turned on.
So with the franchise, how many franchisees are there now?
So currently we have 35 stores open nationwide.
What's the reason
right now?
that they're located?
We are all the way from Oregon to New Jersey, to South Florida, to Atlanta, to Texas. So, you know, Arizona, all in between there. 35 stores open. We're opening about 2.5 stores every single month.
How much does it cost to get it going? So if you want to come in and launch a franchise,
we like to go on the high side.
What do you need to get it going?
We like to go on the high side. I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, most of them are going. We're regulated, you know, so we have to be very careful what we say. But it's usually over 500 to get in.
Okay, all right.
Usually over 500.
So half of him. Half of him get you set up
at least.
Okay,
at least.
And then you do that as a franchisee. You come in, and then how long from there does it take to get the doors open? So you starting, is that a month process, 2 months process?
So again,
obviously depending on location.
We're regulated. Depends on your location. Depends on your logistics in terms of regulation in the city, things of that nature. People should be able to open their stores within a year.
Okay. Gotcha.
You know, and go from there. And but we always got to be careful in franchising. It's just like, you know, this is like being a public company. You got to be careful what you promise. And so it depends.
What's up, y'all? Listen, if you are a business owner or entrepreneur and you juggling your email, your text messages, you don't have a CRM, you don't have any automation, you don't even have your social media posts scheduled, I have the solution for you. What you want to do is tap into the lead attraction system. This is an all-in-one system that's going to handle your text messaging, your email, your CRM, your invoices, get you paid, your digital products, your memberships, your courses, your funnels, and also it's an all-in-one solution. So you can get rid of all these other things. It's in one system. You pay one price every single month. And they also have a weekly office hours. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Tap into the platform and make sure that you grow your business. Lead attraction system. Grab the link below. Let's go.
So what made you guys go to franchise model from building it? Like, why did that seem attractive? And how have you been able to grow 2.1 stores a month?
Yeah, so at the time, I mean, again, we're still in the same situation, very eager, very hungry to succeed, no rich parents, no investors. So we're like, man, we're really onto something here. We got 2 corporate stores now, but how do we really take this out to the masses? And we weren't, multi-millionaires at the time. We just had 2 successful businesses. And there was a guy that introduced us out of Miami, who introduced us to franchise. He was like, hey, I want to take you guys to dinner. I want my associate to take you guys out or whatever to talk. And we were like, well, if you're the head guy at the company, you need to meet us for dinner and we'll talk. And he was like, well, I don't usually do that. I was like, well, then I guess we're not franchising. So we brought our wives. He came down and met us, at the Hard Rock Hollywood, and was like, look, this is the process. I really believe you guys can actually be a big brand. And we were like, we're super skeptical, especially in South Florida. You think everybody's full of shit. And he was like, no, I really believe it. So we talked about it, and it was like, hey, let's just give it a try. And so we took some reserve funds we had.
I'm seeing a theme here. My theme is there's an opportunity, y'all are taking it. Or at least y'all are trying that opportunity, see if it's working.
We're pushing. Look, man, there's class ceilings out here, bro. The American dream is real.
Break that down, the glass ceilings.
Class ceilings.
Class ceilings.
People refer to them as glass ceilings, but they're also class ceilings, which means in the United States of America, there is the American dream. But what they don't tell you is that American dream is hidden behind glass and cinder blocks and steel that you're not really supposed to be able to elevate through a maneuver, right? And so that's why haters and people like that will say you're lucky, but it's not that you're lucky. It's just going to take a tremendous amount of effort for you to ever get into that. So I came from a middle, lower to middle class environment. I never went hungry as a kid, nothing like that or whatever, but middle. And that's all I knew was middle. I didn't have any rich friends. I'd never been in a Mercedes Benz. Nothing. Never seen that in my entire life, as a kid growing up, not until I got, older and went to school and all that. And so for me, that wasn't the life that I knew. But when I was a kid, I always remember my dad, we would be like driving to school in the morning. Someone would pull up next to us, a Lexus or Mercedes. We're in a Ford Escort. That was the car.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
station wagon, Ford Escort.
Oh yeah, the station wagon.
Yeah. And I'd be driving to school and I'd be like, oh, drop me off.
At the corner.
At the corner.
Yeah.
And we'd be at the lights and people would pull up and he'd be like, I don't get it. He's like, I don't understand how someone could, that's like a $60,000, $70,000 car at the time. Like, I don't understand. Doesn't make sense to me. And I would always just be sitting there like, I want to be in a Benz. You know what I'm saying? I want to be in a nice car. Like, I'm tired of like being embarrassed by my car, or whatever. And so that was always there. And me and my cousin, like on the summers, in his room, he had a red Lamborghini that we used to sleep under every single night. We go to bed, red Lamborghini, 10 years. It stayed there the whole time when we grew up. And that really seared in my head that one day I didn't think that was just like a car on the wall. I was like, I'm going to have a red Lamborghini. I'm going to get it. And I've heard somebody else say this before. It's a stupid thing to be a goal, but you'd be surprised with what that goal will lead you to. You know what I'm saying? When you set your bar that high. And so I think we just knew we didn't want to be poor. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't want to be stuck. And I feel like we felt like we deserve to go to nice places just like anybody else. We deserve to have a nice home like anybody else. I like for my kids to go to private school just like anybody else. Why can't I do that? Give it to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying give it to me, like I'm going to take it, And so like, that's the mindset. And so that's what I think it takes to explode these barriers, because you're just supposed to stay in your class. You're born in the project, you're supposed to stay in the projects. You know what I'm saying? You're born up here, you're supposed to stay up here. And the way you look at life is typically going to be up here. And so you have to study, research, pull, tug, do whatever to get all the knowledge and be prepared to make that explosive jump through your next class, whether it's from poor to middle. Some people are, like I volunteer with Habitat for Humanity. Some people just are amazed by the fact that they can get into a house, a small house. Like they've never seen a house before. I grew up in a house, so it's like, it depends on what you want, but it takes effort to bust through. And I think we just felt like there was no other option.
No, I like that. I like that. I mean, I think you kind of really put it in perspective when you talk about the class ceiling. And a lot of it is programming.
Yes.
And a lot of it is like, it's like where they want you to be. And then
It's so funny you said that, dude. I was driving home last night and I was like, no matter, even where I was at right now, I was thanking God for all the things that I had when I was driving to my house. Literally, I was like, thank you for my kids. Thank you for this car I'm driving. Thank you for this house. And I was like, it's so funny, man, because even with all these blessings and things I'm thankful for, I'm exactly where the system wants me to be. So they still need a guy like me to be able to buy this nice car. You know what I'm saying? And there's still this much
away.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm still in the system.
Yeah, no, facts.
I'm just in a better part of the system.
And it's
I
still,
think people don't realize that.
Yep.
You are exactly where, because you're looking at this as black, you're looking at this as red, you're looking at this as white. You don't know what this is, right? It's because you were told that.
You're told that. Yeah.
And that's, everything is like that.
100%. And even though we're in the information age and all this information is available, you still don't know what to look for in some cases. Like I learned something the other day just about blind trust.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In all the opportunities and tax credits and certain bank accounts that you should stay away from, and other bank accounts and a straw man and all types of stuff.
Right.
That's out there and available for people.
Right.
But they don't know what to look for. They don't know.
And they won't.
And they won't, right? And they're just gonna do what they've been conditioned to do, and they're gonna continue to do what their parents have done, right?
Yeah.
So even though I shouldn't have a debit account, a debit card, but my mom had one, my grandma had one, I don't even ask the questions.
Right.
I'm just operating with it.
Right.
I'm assuming that that's just how I should be doing, because this is what they've been doing, just like with food.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing. So just because we're in a space where you can use AI, ChatGPT, you can go on YouTube, Google, you can listen to any podcast. There's all these thought leaders and gurus, and we can get any book. We can get the audio version. We can watch the movies. Right. You know, I heard something very interesting from I think it was Ty Lopez, because he's a ferocious reader. He was talking about how you can go watch a movie or read a book from like Einstein and let's say some of the Rockefellers or whatever the case may be, right? And you could download years and years and years and years of information, all their failures that they took 30, 40, 60, 70, 80 years to accomplish success. You can go through that in a weekend, right? I can get his information, I can get her information, I can get his information, and then I can take action on it next week and get a result. And I can keep doing that and load up on these.
That's the reason Ty Lopez is successful, though, because you won't do it.
That's crazy.
You won't do it.
Yeah.
And so that's really the gap that I'm finding in all this space. I told my daughter this, and I and my wife, I was like, man, I'm listening to talk radio every morning, man. This stuff is driving me crazy. It's negative.
Yeah.
I go on the conservative talk radio. Then I go on to liberal talk radio. And I'm like, this is some BS. So I was like, I like to talk a lot. So I was like, I feel alone in the car. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get Headway, the Headway app.
Headway's app dope.
And so I did like 90 books last year on Headway. And all of a sudden I couldn't like hang out with certain people. And I was starting to think different. And I was starting to look at people different. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, bro, this literally, all this information was soaking in and changed me and leveled me up as a person in just that year.
That's your subconscious, bro.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I was like, it's a fact. It's a fact. And Headway is 15. I program my Headway to 15-minute books. So I'm just loading up on the concept. And now I can't even see the world the same. And so like, for instance, I just did a major investment on my business. And I was really afraid that I took a major investment. I was really afraid. I was like, man, once I take this, my drive is going to get sucked, and my ambition is going to get taken away from me because I'm going to get too comfortable. And I was really afraid of that. And it happened, and I'm on the other side of it. And I was like thankful that I'm more paranoid, more ambitious, and eager than ever. I think because those books really changed my mindset. And they're like, there's so much more for you to do now.
Yeah.
This is not, you're still at the bottom.
Yeah. So facts.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that Ty Lopez, man. It's guys like that, and people are like, you're lucky or whatever. It's like, nah, bro. You just won't. You won't pick them up. You even right now, we're talking about headway, 15-minute books. You won't do it. You won't do it.
Yo, that's gonna be the title. That's gonna be the title thumbnail. You won't do it. We talked about health, right? Vitality. We talked about marketing, digital gorilla, right? We talked about the franchise, right? Franchisees, how much it costs to get into it, how much you had when you started it, right? The class ceiling and all of that. Now, I mean, off camera, you told me a little bit about it, but like, sold the business?
Yeah.
Why would you sell the business if it's so successful? You got all these franchisees. What's the advantage or what's the benefit to selling your business that's so successful?
So a couple of benefits. I mean, the amount of energy and effort that it took to get to where we are, with the budget that we had the entire time, with us backing everything personally ourselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With us,
I can see that.
Accepting all accountability and all responsibility for what we call the marriage of franchising, which is when we do a franchise, we're married for at least 10 years. Your pain is my pain. You're not successful, I'm not successful. You screw up the brand in Georgia, you screw up my brand in Florida. So when you create something that turns out to be this large and this kind of space and it's public facing, it can wear on you greatly. And so I always tell people, not only in our business, but outside of our business, if you want to be successful, if you want to go through that class ceiling, if you want to fulfill these dreams and you think that this lifestyle looks cool, even though I'm in the health and wellness business, it's going to take an unhealthy level of effort to get what you want. And if it's not unhealthy, I think you're doing it wrong. If you think it's going to be balanced, you're probably doing it wrong. That's what
they're talking about.
It's not true.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to, work with people like that. If it's not like that, that's how I got it, and at a certain point in time, I'm like, look, I'm really good at what I do. And we're really good at Forever Young at running Forever Youngs. But this is a totally different business than Forever Young. This is a franchise entity that's looking to be the face and name of what we do in the United States. Yeah. Yes. And so it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work, and you need to scale. You need capital. You need support. And so I felt like this was the best time to do that. And we had gone and talked about this publicly multiple times. We were on a show with Kevin O'Leary a couple times discussing this. And I really wanted to be able to actually have a life and be able to spend some time with my children. And I also have a lot more creating to do. And so I want to try other things. There's other businesses that I have interest in, and I wanted the ability to do that. And so we did a transaction where the majority of the company was sold, but I still own a sizable portion of the company. And now I have great minds in there to help us out as well.
So you can go further.
And to grow a smaller part percentage wise, but that smaller part, it can be worth so much more than it is right now.
So you could sell your company but still have a sizable percentage.
Yeah.
Right. So I know a lot of people probably feel like if I sell it, I may not still be in it. But you sold off a healthy share, and you're still able to.
So I got both feet in. I'm straddling.
Okay. So you that means you received a good amount. You and your partners.
Yes.
But you're still able to generate revenue from the business.
Yep. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there want to correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we're the first in the vitality space, that we're in right now, the combination of aesthetics and wellness to do a transaction like the one that we have. And definitely the only person that looks like myself who's ever done that before. And so it felt like it was the right time.
How much time? Like from building it to selling it?
9, almost 10 years.
Okay.
And I hate that because there are a lot of people out there that talk about this process, and all of them throughout the years always said 10 years. All the people I looked up and respected to, all the big names out there, always said 10 years. I was like, screw that. You're wrong. You're lying. I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
It took 10 years.
Yeah.
It took 10 years, man.
Yeah.
It really took a whole 10 years. And so it was, if you're in my family, in my household, if you saw the ups and downs, you would probably understand why you'd want to bring somebody in, because we're in it to win it. And again, there's nothing we wouldn't do. And if, we're accountable to people, we're accountable to franchisees, we're accountable to our patients, we're accountable to our business partners, and we're accountable to, the brand as a whole. And so that's a lot of responsibility to bear. And it was to the point that my kids are, sometimes I'm not even there. I'm there, but I'm not there. Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Some people never will. And so we thought we made the best decision, and we're going to find out,
Does it make sense for you when you're positioning, like when you're selling the company? Did you have a lot of people coming wanting to purchase, or did you
since year two, we had people trying to invest. Since year two.
All right. So you have people watching already interested.
Yeah. Since year two, we had people trying to invest. Man, I mean, I think my faith has grown even more because I'm really glad that God didn't allow those things to happen, and every year, you get hard times. People, I'll help you out. And what help was then is totally different from what the help is now. And if we accepted that, we wouldn't be here today. And so we were able to hold on as long as possible. But people would come every year. And then the last year and a half, a lot of people came, and it got to the point it was like, hey, we try to do this ourselves. We try to run a process and figure out who was the best. And it got to a point where like, hey, you know what? Again, we're really good at what we do.
You got to bring somebody in to help facilitate.
Yeah, we brought a great company in that helped us out. And what they did was they went out to their own marketplace to 300 plus people. And then from those 300 people, the funneled all the way down to 150, all the way down to another 25, all the way down to 12. And then we did like 12 to 15 interviews for 2 weeks straight, got it all the way down to 3 and then down to 1. And then I thought we were there. And then that's when the process began. And then that process, they warned us. They were like, I'm sorry, like this is going to get really bad. Like it's not something you've never been through in your life. And I was like, whatever, we can deal with it, until it got to that point. And you're like, oh my God.
So what's really bad? Something you never experienced?
If you're selling a real business, a legitimate business, a scalable, sizable, quality business to a quality private equity company, the amount of diligence that you go through is first and foremost extremely expensive. I mean, especially for a small business like us, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal alone. You get on a Zoom
to facilitate.
There's 12 lawyers on there just on your side.
Yeah.
Billing, right? They're not your friends.
Yeah.
And so that part of the process alone was just crazy. And then they're digging and they're digging and they're digging and they're digging and they're asking you questions, and then they're asking you a question a different way, and then they're asking you 30 more times, and then you're submitting documentation that you didn't even know could have possibly existed on your business. And when you submit that, you think that you're getting to the end, and it's just still starting again over and over in every area of the business. And these lawyers on their side are going to try to rip you to shreds, try to find anything. Then there's personal background checks and interviews and this and that. And it's something that I really can't fully explain unless you're in it. But when you're running your own business, 100 miles per hour as an entrepreneur, and then you're running another process that's just as grueling, if not more grueling in your business, it's enough to take you out.
So after all of that, which definitely sounds pretty grueling, like you mentioned, was it worth it selling?
I always tell people, we'll see. We'll see, because
you're still learning that. You're still discovering that.
Yeah, because the reason you would do something like this and still retain equity in your business is because you believe that equity is going to multiply tremendously, right? And so we'll see. We'll see. And then
how do you feel about it on the inside? What's your instincts?
I think we made the best decision.
You seem like someone that would kind of go off the instincts a little bit.
We made the best decision we possibly could, and instinct at the end of the day also came into play. But we're not going to know for 2 years, 1 to 2 years. But that's the cool part is that even if that, I know now after going through these processes and going to hell and back, that no matter what happens, if I have to do this again tomorrow with 50,000 or 100,000, I can do this again, and I can scale it in 2 years.
Well, that's the one good thing about once you accomplish something. So even if something went down and you lost it all,
can't take it away from you.
You can't take it. You have the skill set. You know the path.
Yeah.
You know the strategies. You can just build it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Faster, like you said.
Way faster. Yeah. Way faster. If we knew what we knew now, and after going to hell and back in this process, the time to scale the capital raise.
Half the time?
Less than half the time. Less than half the time.
25%.
If I would love to have the space to build another brand from scratch and to prove to someone, because that's what gets me going, by the way. I learned that this whole process was all due to a chip on the shoulder.
You got a book?
No book. No book.
No, but I mean, you got a book coming out or something?
I like to, you know? I mean, but it's all about proving people wrong.
Yeah.
And it's all about showing people that all these things you think are impossible are possible. But, and now I know what it takes.
Yeah. I think we're going to be on this camera. I think that's, so the things I'm getting from you is they ain't going to do it, right?
They're not going to do
Proving people wrong, taking advantage of these opportunities, and working extremely hard, to prove yourself, break through that class ceiling, and obviously get to that destination, and the competition don't matter. Those are the nuggets I'm picking up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this is not good for your business and maybe mine in the future or other people's, but the truth of the matter is, if somebody's watching this podcast, there's tidbits in this. And at the end of the day, the fact that we're telling you that you're not going to do it and prove us wrong should be enough for you to close your laptop or your phone right now and say, this is all I need. Because I promise you, if you keep on searching, you keep on scrolling for all these secrets to success and the shortcut to success, they literally don't exist. There is none, unless you're independently wealthy or have rich parents and you have the ambition and drive and dedication it takes to build a business. That is the only way that you're going to get what you want. There's no other way. And it goes into the wellness and it goes into what we talked about before, because if you can't perform at this high level, if you're tired and lazy and you're sitting on the couch, trust me, it's never going to work out. It's never going to work out. And I can look at you, it sounds bad, but I can look at you and tell how much you can take, how much you can endure, how long can you work before you're tired or you're breathing heavy or you got to take a nap, right? Because you're 150 pounds overweight. You can't compete, and so you got to fix these things simultaneously if that applies to you. And if you're ready to go, then stop watching, stop scrolling, and it's time to just pull triggers, because you're wasting time, and there's no shortcut.
Man, this has been a fire episode, man. So much. I mean, we had a lot of different categories. I think that are very impactful. You gave a lot of quality information that I feel like people can literally, like you said, they can close the laptop, turn off the app, go to work, right? Because they should feel triggered to want to be.
Prove us wrong. Prove me wrong.
100%.
Having a chip on your shoulder will take you a long way. It's all about like that dad that told you you weren't going to be shit, or that person in school that told you your idea wasn't going to work, or that girlfriend that left you because you were broke. Like, prove them wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's enough fuel for you to go for years. Yeah. It's like, fuck all of those people, man. And like, it sounds bad to say. I draw upon that a lot.
Yeah, nah, for sure. You got a hit list. I remember I had a coach one time. You said he had a hit list of everybody that, said something, did something, reacted a certain way, and he just used that as like, look at the list every day. Even Jay Monopoly said that he would wake up and just listen to like battle rap, to kind of get him going and stuff like that. So I always thought that was interesting. So as we're wrapping up, man, is there any books, strategies, anything you want to let the people know that they should tap into so they can get to that next level?
I don't have a book yet. Hopefully that's coming soon. I do post my ethic, my grind, my daily routines just to my Instagram. It's, Carlton_Washington on Instagram. Other than that, what I can't tell people, one thing that really did help me is there was one book that did free my mind.
What's that?
And it was given to me and it sat on my desk for a long time because I wasn't reading at the time. And when I finally picked it up and read it, my boy was like, you didn't read that book I got you? I was like, man, I didn't. It was over a year ago. I picked it up and it was the yellow book, The 4-Hour Workweek from Tim Ferriss.
Oh yeah.
It destroyed my, it destroyed the learning that we were talking about, the way you've been programmed. It destroyed that. It told me that you're never going to get to retire. Your retirement calculator is full of shit. All these things that you've been told, they're never going to work. And then if you do get to that point, you're not going to have the physical capacity or wellness or health to even be able to enjoy any of it. So none of it works. And he tells you that honestly, and it broke all my belief systems down. And so he tells you to go out and do things that are extraordinary, but he's done it himself. And I literally followed the steps in the book. I did everything he talked about, and every single thing worked.
Right.
You know, and it changed my life. And again, you won't read that book. It's about this thick. You won't do it.
We're going to put the link below so you can get access to the book. I'll make it super easy for you, man. So, podcast was fire.
I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you for stopping in.
Thank you.
Let them know one more time where they can go tap in with you, Instagram, websites, domains, anything like that.
Yeah, so the business is Forever Young with the number 4, foreveryoung.com. That's with the number 4. You can check us out on Instagram at Forever Young Boca or Forever Young Anti-Aging. And then me personally is Carlton, CARLTON _Washington on Instagram, same on Facebook, same on LinkedIn. Very responsive and active on there. And I give all this stuff away for free to my competitors, everybody else, because you won't do it.
Open source. Listen, y'all, been another amazing episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. That's Carlton, Washington. You should 100% tap in so you can be forever young. There's been so many gems left in the podcast, but like you said, you probably ain't gonna do it, but you should, right? Tap into the book below. Rewind the podcast, find that one nugget that should be good for you to take you to the next level. We'll see you guys on another episode.